What's going on YouTube? In this video, I'm working on a 2014 Tundra SR with a 4.6 liter four-wheel drive. I had pretty fun time trying to get these damn torque converter bolts out. So I'm just gonna make a short video on and show you how I did it because it was a little difficult. So I'm under the car right now. So first off, the way that it's going to make it easier to get these torque converter bolts off is if you take the exhaust off. This is the passenger side of the motor, passenger side header. You have to take that off to get to these torque converter bolts. You're going to have to unbolt both sides of the Y pipe so you can move this whole back half of the exhaust so you can push it back freely. And then I took out the cats on this side, and then I went for the header next. And I will warn you, every single one of those bolts, I used a different tool, a different extension set, different socket. You have to figure out what combination is going to work to get to each bolt. Just got to do what you got to do. I went underneath from the angle I just showed you. I also got a few bolts through the wheel well. I took the wheel off. I got a few of the bolts, the top bolts, off of the header that way, and then you also have to take that off right there. That's the EGR connection right there. It's a part of the header. So all that stuff, I got most of it through the wheel well. Other ways, I had to come through the front and use an extension set to get up in there and take it off that way. And then for some of the other bolts, I just used a little tiny ratchet, a 1/4 inch ratchet with a deep extension, and I was able to just put it in there. And that was one of the bolts I had to use that. I could not get any other way. I just put this in there blindly and I was turning it. And then once you crack them loose though, they're pretty easy to finger off. But yeah, once you get the header off of it, then there's a little cover, and this thing blocks half of the fucking, if you do not take this off, you won't get to the bolts because the bolts sit right here behind this plate. So the starter sits right here next to it, and this is like a little spacer thing. After you get the starter out, you just reach your hand up in there, grab this tab right here, pull it, and it'll pop right out. But yeah, if you don't remove this little plastic thing, you won't be able to get to the torque converter bolts. Other than that, if you're trying to take your transmission out and you need your torque converter bolts out, you're gonna have to take off the exhaust on this 2014 Toyota Tundra. Another thing that I learned about these Toyotas is all these torque converter bolts are silver except for this black one right here, right? And apparently this black one has a little sleeve on it, a shoulder, and it's like an alignment bolt. So like I was saying, before the phone started ringing, these black bolts, there's one black torque converter bolt on these Toyotas, I guess, and it is an alignment bolt. So when you reinstall the trans, you're gonna wanna put this bolt in first because it's gonna align the torque converter, the holes on the flex plate with the torque converter when you tighten this up. So you don't have to do two passes. You could just put this bolt in, torque it down, and then go around, put the rest of the torque converter bolts in and torque it down instead of having to do it in a two-part sequence. And then it's all because that little shoulder right there at the base of the threads that lines the flex plate with the torque converter. Well, I hope that helped you guys out if you're working on one of these Toyotas. Yeah, hope that helped. Thanks for watching.